Running with the runners. 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 Running with the runners.
All right, welcome in everyone. It's Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. Tonight we're going to bring you guys an awesome show about Texit being exposed, the truth behind the hype. As always, I got my good brother here, Ricardo Hamilton, aka Mims, making make sense. What's going down, brother? How is it going over in your world these days?
Yo, are we having fun or what? Let's get it.
Man,
running with the runners. I'm telling you, how you not pumped right now? If you've been following us and you've been taking advantage of what we've been sharing and the opportunities and the systems, you up right now. And not only that, you have a better idea of where the world is going and how to capitalize it and put yourself in position, to win. So, we always fired up, brother. Tonight's show going to be phenomenal. Listen, take advantage, okay? We're doing this for a reason. Fired up and excited. But yeah, brother, I'm happy for the show. Happy birthday to you, my man. You know what I'm saying? Many more blessings, many more. What an awesome time to be alive, man.
yeah, just you got to count your blessings every day, and just been so blessed, the last few years, getting to work with you, Ricardo, and all the runners and all the people who have helped and supported us. And, so what we wanted to do, guys, is I know that there's a lot of people that are skeptical. A lot of people have been burned in the past. And so tonight we really just wanted to lay out the facts, right? Not any hype, not trying to pump you up, but just bringing you the facts about why and how Texit is completely different than anything you have ever seen. Now, before we get into that, guys, get ready for the bull run. Okay. It's here. It's not going away. Oh, yeah. Bitcoin at almost $110,000 right now. We can see here, lots of coins up here. Mm-hmm. Ricardo has been talking about SHX. We've been talking about that for a while, up 18% today. Again, just at a third of a penny and a third. So lots of room for that to keep growing. So plug into those opportunities.
Massively undervalued. Yeah, yes. Massively undervalued. Dealing with ACH payments. Okay. Massive opportunity to get in at under 2 cents. But yeah, brother, SHX and a lot of the cryptos are doing very well. Those who've been running with us, you already know.
And let me see here. I got to show. Oh yeah, I got to show this other one, guys. I mean, this is crazy. Gold and silver. Gold at 3,351. Silver almost broke $37 today. So again, guys, this is why we talk about all the time accumulating assets consistently over time. Don't care about the price. Eventually it will pay off. And that's what we're doing with Texit as well. As we get these miners, is we're dollar cost averaging in every single day because we get tokens sent to us every single day. Yeah. Mims, anything you want to say about the gold and silver? Again, guys, we were telling you guys this for the last 5-6 years. And of course, what we knew would happen has now happened.
Yeah, you just have to understand that the dollar is going to continue to lose value, and the wealthy continue to get wealthy because they buy assets, because the assets are worth more as the dollar loses value. So we get excited because we know the real assets that have real value. When we talk about silver, when we talk about gold, when we talk about, blockchains and, certain digital assets, cryptocurrency, so this is the time. And with silver, it did hit 37, came down a little bit, but I'm telling you, I've been calling silver all-time high for 2025. I believe we will most definitely see silver break above $50 an ounce by the end of this year, okay? And this is what it's about. When you talk about saving your money, you save it in silver and gold. It's not an investment, okay? It's how you save and hedge against financial crisis and inflation. And then, of course, we talk about these digital assets, which are investments, which have a greater potential to increase your money because of the investment potential. So yeah, brother, I mean, we've been helping people win, showing them the difference between real money and fake money, how to preserve their wealth and have it grow for them without exposing it to risk in precious metals, and how to take advantage of the largest wealth transfer in history, where massive amounts of capital, quadrillions of dollars, are getting ready to flow into these assets. You're muted, brother. Oh, I can't hear you.
There we go. Let's get into it now about how Texit is so different exposed without any hype. And so the first thing that we're going to look at, Mims, is that this was a fair launch layer 1 blockchain. So what does that mean? Fair launch, meaning the owners, the insiders did not get a bunch of tokens before anyone else, right? The only way to get tokens is to go purchase them in the open market or to purchase a miner and have them sent to your cold storage wallet every single day. Layer 1, meaning it is its own chain, like Bitcoin, like Ethereum. Okay. Most of the tokens you see today, especially ones that end up being Ponzi schemes and rug pulls, they just create a token on another layer 1. And there's no real value there added to it. And Mims, I'll let you go into a little bit more. But for me, the big thing is the trust and transparency that we can see here because it's its own layer 1 blockchain, because you can see the hash rate and the use of funds that the company's doing. I've never seen another company do anything like that.
Yeah, no, we have been in a lot of different programs. We've seen a lot of different opportunities out here, but nothing like Texit, because of the way it's set up with its, own layer 1 and proof of work and, the fork of Litecoin and being a fair launch. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a part of something equal opportunity type of opportunity that we have here with this fair launch and this blockchain. And, you don't want to be set up. And so there are certain things that you need to look for. And throughout the years, we have learned, what are the characteristics, what are those traits, what are those principles that you want to see in a project, in an ecosystem, to guarantee, to give it a greater potential of success. Right. And so when we look at, Texit and we see that they actually have their own blockchain, it's actually a fork of Litecoin, which is very fast and cheap. Like Litecoin is an OG. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's solid. There's no question in regards to that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then obviously for it to be a fair launch, because a lot of times there are projects where the insiders and the people in the beginning, they're benefiting massively because they got the hookup. Okay. Ain't nobody get the hookup over here. Okay. Nobody got the hookup. It's an equal opportunity fair launch. And so that's a good sign. That's what you want to see when you look at a project. So that being one of the critical factors and criteria that we look at that says this is definitely something different. One of the things.
And now here's the biggest one, guys. And if you don't understand blockchain and cryptocurrency, this probably will go right over your head, but we're going to make it make sense for you guys because we've got Mims here. This is a proof of work blockchain, guys. That is a big, big difference because this is what backs it, the token, right? Is that there must be a real physical miner and there must be real energy used in the creation of this token. So, you can go to CoinGecko and see the proof of work tokens.
Are you trying to share screen or?
No, I was just getting ready to.
Oh, okay.
And there's not that many of them. And here's what I want you guys to understand, right? Of course, you have Bitcoin, you have Dogecoin, which has gotten a lot of community support because it's kind of a meme fun coin, right? Then you have Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Monero, Ethereum Classic, Caspa, right? Once you get past that, there's not a lot of tokens. I've known about Ravencoin and Dash for a long time. But here's the issue with a lot of these tokens, Ricardo, is they don't have a strong community, right? There's not a lot of incentive. And we'll get into that later. But again, our competition in proof of work tokens is very slim. And Ricardo, you and I were talking about this today, and it's kind of like gold and silver. Like in order to mine Bitcoin and Texit, you need a real miner. Just like to get gold and silver out of the ground, you need a real person that is a miner. So Mims, maybe break that down and explain it to people of how it is so similar when it comes to gold and silver and proof of work tokens in crypto.
Yeah, you got to understand that the dollar is something that they just print up. They just create it. You know what I'm saying? There's no real work in the creation of the dollars. Now, when it comes to gold and silver, there are people that actually have to take their time and their energy and machines, and they have to actually dig, the asset out of the ground. That's why, one of the main reasons it's valuable. So when you're looking at cryptocurrency and you're comparing other projects and different things that you might have been aware of, well, with this proof of work blockchain with Texit, there's actually work being done. Okay, because of the miners, because of the blockchain ecosystem, there's work being done to add, to create and substantiate that value. This is not something where they just created, coins, or they just created, nodes or whatever have you. There's actually work that's being done to put into this, and so that's one of the things that substantiate its value. A lot of people say, well, what's the value of Bitcoin? It's the largest global network. Okay, like so of miners and everything else. So there's actual physical devices. There's actual energy that's being used to actually do some work to actually give it value. This is not something that, somebody just says it has value, like the dollar. They just say, oh, it has value because we say it does. You know what I mean? Now, the dollar had value because it was backed by gold, but the dollar is no longer backed by gold. So now the world no longer wants it and has no value, and it loses value because of that, because they print too much of it. But here you have a proof of work blockchain where actually there is actual work and energy being used, okay, to create the value. Okay, so just understand something, that this is not one of those projects where they just, created something and then put it out there. This actually took real work and energy and machines and, to produce this. So that's another thing that creates and adds more value to it and separates it from anything that you might be familiar with.
No, 100%. I have never seen another company promote or market a token that is proof of work. Right? Never seen it. It's just something, they put it on Ethereum, they put it on the Binance Smart Chain, they put it on Solana, they create, 10 billion tokens,
right?
And then they try to convince people to buy them, and it's a musical chair. If you don't get out soon, you're going to be sitting there holding the bag and nothing.
Yeah. So it's certain things that when you want to evaluate, all right, and you want to analyze and you want to critique, right, an opportunity, there's certain metrics, certain principles, certain things that you should look for, and this is what we look for. So when we're considering a project, and because we are familiar with so many different projects out there and how they function, and we truly have an in-depth understanding of the layers of the blockchain and how the blockchain works, and what it takes for a project to be successful, and then we compare our knowledge to what we see what Texit Coin has, and says, okay, we have to make this distinction so the community can really grasp the difference between other things that they've seen out here, because other things that you've seen out here haven't been proof of work. A lot of most of it. Okay, it's software, it's something else. This is actual physical, and we're going to get more into that, but it's physical, and there's actually work that's being produced in it. And there's a lot more things that add value to it. That was just number 2 that we're talking about.
Yeah. So number 3 is decentralized physical miners. This is what backs the token. And Ricardo mentioned this before, is people will say, well, there's nothing backing Bitcoin. Nothing could be further from the truth. Bitcoin is backed by the biggest, most powerful computer network ever built in the history of the world. It's backed by, gigahashes of electricity that have gone to run the network since 2010. And this is exactly the exact same thing when it comes to Texit. But rather than just me telling this, I want to give you guys a bird's eye view of what it looks like for the Texit miners that are mining, and let Bobby Gray, the CEO, explain the type of mining they're doing and why it is so more advanced than what most people are doing when it comes to mining. So, Mims, we're going to watch this, and we'll stop every now and then and kind of make sure people understand what's going on.
Let's do it.
This is called immersion cooling.
That's what Paul's talking about. Go ahead, Bob.
So this is like a mineral oil substance. We've got about 252 amps of 480 volt power.
Emergent cooling.
Yeah, let's listen to that again. I want to make sure I turned it up
it's a little
bit.
low. Yeah, it's a little low.
I'm going to turn it up.
Emergent cooling, and I think he said something about a mineral solution. And so these are the actual physical devices that are in a solution to keep them cool. Well, go ahead, Mike.
Called immersion cooling.
So it's called immersion cooling, that the miners are actually in a liquid to help keep them cool versus fans, and he'll explain this.
That's who Paul's talking about. Go ahead, Bob. Do
So
your
this
thing.
is like a mineral oil substance. We've got about 252 amps of 480 volt power plugged into the tub. Well, you can. That's the fun thing about it. You can put your finger within like a quarter of an inch of a 480 volt connection, which is like a no-do, without getting electrocuted. So it's kind of an engineered mineral oil.
So it's an engineered mineral oil. It makes it safer too. You can see he put his hand right in there, and you know it was fine because of that, the way that liquid works.
And it's kind of all because of the heat or the.
It's 16 times more thermally conductive than airflow is.
So he said this liquid is 16 times more thermal conductive than air is. So most big mining facilities have fans blowing and it's super loud, like you can barely even hear yourself. You need to wear earplugs in most of them. But because Bobby Gray knows what he's doing, and we'll talk about that later, they have designed this completely different than what most mining facilities are doing, using the liquid to, again, have 16 times more thermal, basically absorbing that energy versus having to do it with more electricity and running fans.
So if you've got these things sitting here and you're just blowing air across the chips, they get hot. You know, creates a lot of heat. Sure. Creates a lot of heat, creates a lot of noise. So it's 30% more efficient because you can take the fans off. It's a lot quieter, which is really important. And it takes all the heat, puts it all outside in a real simple heat exchanger. And so it's state of the art. These are so cool. The best of the best when it comes to mining hardware.
So 30% more efficient, the best of the best mining hardware. Guys, listen, you might not understand cryptocurrency right now. You might not understand the blockchain. But what I can tell you is Fortune 500 companies, S&P 500 companies are getting into Bitcoin on their balance sheet. There are literally tons of real world companies trading on the stock market that are building Bitcoin and mining facilities. Like, this decentralization is the wave of the future.
It's the best of the best when it comes to the cooling infrastructure. And so we worked our way up to this point and we're extremely happy here because it's very scalable now.
So Bobby, I was telling her, I learned this last night, that the goal is 1 million mining seats.
The goal is 100 million mega hash. Okay, so when we started working on the numbers, the dots that we're trying to connect, we wanted to figure out how big of a mine we would need to build in order for the global crypto community to take it seriously. Right? It's like, well, if we had a mine that was this big, would we like get them to the top 100? No, it's got to be this big.
Yeah, global. I want you guys to catch that. He said global, okay, not just in Texas, right? Global crypto community. And also he said that the process that he put together makes it more scalable. Okay. And that's what you want to have with the type of system that they have, the scalability to grow this, okay, and continue to be a success. So I want to make sure you guys caught that word, scalability and global. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and great question here by Bodacious. Do they accept everyone in the USA, or is it strictly in the USA? You can do it USA or international. It is global, able to do it. Right now, they're just mining in Texas, and they are going to, he's going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, anyone in the world can join this. And shout out to Boone and Doug. Their team is rocking it. They're crushing it. And Angie, as always, we're going to look at one of her posts here in a little bit for one of our points that we're doing with how Texit is different. But yeah, let's finish this video, guys. This is absolute fire with Bobby Gray explaining this.
So we said, okay, we want to build 100 million mega hash mines. So don't worry about what mega hash means. Just think big. And think.
So again, he's saying their goal is 100 million mega hash. Even if you don't know what that means, it's basically just saying we want to have the biggest, the most powerful, decentralized mining infrastructure in the entire world. And again, this is in Texas. Why is that important? Well, Texas is very crypto friendly. Texas is very independent and liberty minded. And Texas has some of the cheapest energy in America and the entire world because they have their own power grid and all of the solar energy and solar panels there. So there's a reason that they're doing it in Texas, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Globally respected and recognized and reliable and decentralized and big. Then we said, okay, well, how many people do you think we can get through, you know, like a network marketing type deal, right, to fill the seats on the rocket? 1 million people. Not just a million is possible, but a million's the size of the community that we want to find, so that we've got people talking about Texit coin. If we got one guy that comes in and builds the whole mine, there's no community there that's supporting our currency.
Now that's going to be important later, guys. We're going to go over that community that he's talking about. And again, so he said there he wants to have 1 million people in the community. Well, right now there's about 6,000. So that is how early you are to what we're doing here in Texit. And I have no doubt it's going to continue to grow. Mims, anything you want to say about that video and everything that you saw there before we go on to the next one?
You better run when the runners run, okay? You better run when the runners run. You're dealing with some really smart people here. They have the technology. You know, they have the system. They have the scalability. They have the community. They got the vision. You know, they got the right leadership. They're doing everything right. You know, from what we can see, and that's why we're excited to share this with you guys. Definitely, you know, lock in, put yourself in position, take advantage. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. This is the next one of the three. Showing again more of the mining facilities. He's going to show some older ones now, and then talk about how this is what they used to have. What you're going to see here, the first one you saw is kind of like he said, state of the art, the best mining stuff you can do right now.
And so this was like phase 0.1B, and same concept, but with the latest technology we could get our hands on at the time. And this setup replaced like 200 of those L3s. So a lot more efficient, a lot more compact, and we discovered and got
200 of one. I just took a quick trip. Right. Box, small box.
Wow. So this is where we went for a while, and then the industry took off. Prices tripled on all the mining equipment. We couldn't get the latest stuff that we wanted.
So I want you guys to hear that. Prices tripled on all the mining equipment. That is because there is such competition in the proof of work crypto space that you always want to have the most powerful, the biggest, the most efficient miners to run the most profitable mining center. And he's going to go into that a little bit more. But again, guys, this is very technical, right? It's simple for us. We buy a miner, we get tokens sent to our wallet every day. You guys don't have to worry about any of this. This is what Bobby Gray and Texit are focused on.
And so we waited and waited, and then we started getting it. And so all of these are more L9s, which is what we've got over there. So on the first chart on the website,
L3s to
L3s to L7s,
L9
to L9. So now we're just using L9s, and that's the best of the best.
Okay, so I want to show you guys something really quick here. So I want to show you what he's talking about. Okay, L3, L7, L9. Okay, these are called, and this is kind of what everyone uses to mine real crypto, right? Bitmain ant miners. Okay, L9. And you can see here, these things cost right around $9,000, right? They have 17 gigahash, 16 or 15. 15 is obviously lower. You want more gigahash. So that L9 is, over, it's like 9,300. Okay. And it's just hard to even get these. And he talks about it here in a minute, especially with what's going on with, because most of these are made in China. So with the whole, tariff thing, these are hard to get. So again, this is something that is almost impossible to do, at my house now. Like, I'd have to be my whole life essentially. But we get to participate in what they're doing in Texit very easily and decentralized so that they can build this and we can, basically profit from it. Okay, let's jump back to the video. But I just wanted to show you guys that this is what's backing the coin, right? It is a real, let me pull that up again. Where are we at here?
Infrastructure, folks.
Yes.
There's infrastructure.
Decentralized physical miners. There we go.
And that is handling the 14,000?
No. So the first chart on the website shows you two things: how much hash power we've sold, and what our current hash rate is. So there's a disparity between our sold hash power and our current hash power, which is about 1/3 of where it should be. That other 2/3 is here, waiting to get installed.
I see.
Right. So we
Yeah.
just got the other day, a couple weeks ago now, I guess.
So guys, think about how much money that is right there. If each one of those boxes, this is your math problem to solve tonight, guys. If each one of those boxes costs about $9,000, how much money do you think is here? This looks like it's 2 deep,
Yeah.
and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 high, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a little on the side here. So multiply that, guys, and put the answer in the comments. But that's a lot of money that's waiting to come online to give us more hash power to make us more powerful.
And that's just what you see. That's,
Right.
that's not what you don't see.
At one site.
Right.
On this building is as far as until you have to move to a, for lack of a better way of putting it, you see NVIDIA and I'm not filling
Exactly.
data.
So that looks like more miners too, like smaller ones.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's real value, folks. If you don't really understand what you're looking at value. You're looking at value, and that value is going to correlate and it transfers over to the ecosystem. And you want to be a part of that. You want to own a piece of that. And that's what we have the opportunity to do by owning a miner. Okay. And of course, there's more utility and more. And obviously, we talked about 1 million, and there's only like less than 7,000 people. Take advantage. Get in at the beginning.
Yeah. This is the last video from Bobby here, and they're actually filming Mitchell, who you guys have probably seen in our other videos, who didn't even do anything network marketing. He's been making $3,000 a week for about 5 months. He is there right now at visiting the mining facilities, getting a bunch of footage, and this is probably almost a month old. So they've added a ton more since this video is shot.
One that's already ordered and paid for is a container sized turnkey, which you might have seen in the mining chat, but it holds 200 and the heat exchangers go on top. And so we're looking to deploy 35 of those containers all around the state of Texas.
Okay.
We already have land purchase for the first one. It's going in Victoria, Texas. So we're just waiting.
Okay. So they're taking these storage containers, putting them in 35 different areas of Texas, and turnkey, meaning set up with those L9 miners in them, guys. Like, this is massive of buying the land, getting the cheap electricity, getting the miners even ordered and in stock at the right prices, doing everything with the liquid, having the heater pumping the heat out, into the atmosphere versus keeping it in, where the miners are at. So this is a massive operation. This isn't, they clicked a few buttons and created 1 million tokens on Ethereum. Right. This is completely different than anything I've ever seen in this space.
Yeah. The real world is substantiating the digital, aspects of this. This is the real world, and this is what you're looking at.
Yep. So listen to Bobby right here. He's going to go into the expansion of Texit to make it even more decentralized right now.
Waiting for that to arrive. So 24, 48, 48 more comes to 96, and then we can hold 200. So we have capacity to hold 296. But container is actually phase 3. So this is phase 1. Phase 2 is we actually start getting small home miners and sending them out to homes of people across the state of Texas. So now we don't have a single point of failure.
So again, they're starting everything in Texas and decentralizing it. So if you do live in Texas, you can still buy a miner and get your tokens every day. But if you want a physical miner, again, that's optional. If you live in Texas, they're going to start sending those out soon to, again, decentralize this even more and not have a single point of failure, as he said.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so the whole thing is, miners work, the ecosystem works. Obviously, we see what Bitcoin's doing, and proof of work projects. And Bobby Gray gets it, and that's one of the key things you want to have with a leadership, founders, the people who are scaling this operation. for it to be success. You want to make sure they get it. And you see, he talked about single points of failure. We're talking about these features, and security measures and things for the longevity and success of the blockchain and the ecosystem. So yeah, Bobby Gray gets it, but he definitely gets it.
Now we've got a couple thousand points of failure scattered all over the state. Then, as that continues, we add in phase 3, which is more of the shipping container miners. So we've got a stair-step strategy to get the current hash power to meet its spot all the way up on the sold hash power. And so I tell people I do 3 things with the money. When you put your cash in, I pay commissions, I build the mine, I promote the coin. That's my job, right? Paying commissions.
So that's huge, guys. Again, pay commissions, which we're going to talk about why that's important. Build out the infrastructure of the miners, and then market and promote the coin.
Is easy, promoting the coin is easy. Building the mine's harder than it sounds, right? First, you got to pay for the equipment. Second, you got to get the equipment, which is easier said than done now that we've got tariffs and all these other things to deal with.
That's true, yeah.
And then the third part is you have to install the equipment, right? So we just had that one installed about a month ago. And if you look at the chart on the website, you can see the mining hash power, and then all of a sudden, a giant jump where it goes from 40 gigahash all the way up to over 400 gigahash, right? So now we install that one, we'll go from 400 up to 850 gigahash. We install the B48 that's on the way, we go from there above where we should be in terms of the sold hash power. So those are the milestones you want to watch out for. And what I tell people is, watch my back and hold me accountable.
Right.
That's all we have to do. We follow through on building the mine, we have a success.
Well, so what you just said, okay, and I'm saying this as humbly as I can, right? Been raising private equity capital.
All right. So Mims, I know you put up the next point here, but yeah, your reaction to that and how massive it is.
Yeah. This is the thing we get excited about because like I said, you want to find owners, founders, projects, people who know what they're doing, that's scalable. And yeah, this is definitely massive in what they're doing. And he broke it down, pay commissions, build out the infrastructure and market it. And so that's where the money's going. You know what I mean? And it's going to real world devices, real world physical things that make the ecosystem function and work, for people to be able to have their own miners in Texas. And then, obviously the technology that they have to keep the miners cool and things of this nature. So this is what you want to see. This is a real project that, is dealing with the physical, right? To substantiate the digital. Okay. And that's what you want to see there. That's what I get excited about when I first understood blockchain and crypto. I got excited that the physical was going to substantiate the digital, just like the world accepted the dollar because the dollar was going to, be that representation for the physical, which was the gold, right? So the gold substantiated the value of the dollar, right? So when I looked at the dollar and, looking at its currency and transmitting, and I look at what we have with, obviously proof of work blockchains, like we were looking at Texit and the Texit coin. Okay. Now I'm saying the value. You're right. There's actually some work, that in the real world that's substantiating the digital value of the asset.
All right. Get ready to have your mind blown, guys, because again, Texit has multiple income streams as they build out these mining facilities to mine other proof of work tokens. So we're not really just dependent on Texit and them mining Texit, because they can switch algorithms and run different programs to mine different proof of work tokens. So I just went to the 7-day here, Mims. Okay. Again, I don't know all these coins. I'm not telling you to go and buy them, but the innovation game has gone up 634%. So what if, and again, I don't know if any of this happened. I'm just saying this is a possibility. They could have had a couple miners mining the innovation game for the last month or so, and it's up 634%. They could have done it with Bytecoin or even Ravencoin, which is an OG proof of work coin. It went up 76% this week. So they could be buying and selling that crypto, and they could even do it with Bitcoin if they wanted to mine Bitcoin, if they wanted to mine Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, they could do all that. Dogecoin, Monero. So again, Mims, this is like
that's huge.
This is diversification at its best.
Yeah, it's huge when you understand that you own a miner and they have the capability to be able to mine other digital assets. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I love that as like I look at it like a fail safe, or I love options, right? You know what I mean? So for them to have this infrastructure, okay, and this infrastructure of miners, all throughout Texas. And, right now we have the Texit coin, but they also have the ability to mine any other proof of work coin. Okay. That's huge. That I hope that doesn't go over too many people's head, but that's a major value. And in the infrastructure that they're building and what the infrastructure can actually do on the blockchain, and how that correlates and translates to value for you as a owner of a miner or miners.
Oh, that's massive.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one here. We're talking about real world adoption, guys. They are already testing this in multiple cities. The first major one that's kind of starting to use it is called McKinney, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, Texas. And they have these downtown dollars where they're integrating them with the local community and small businesses to build a complete ecosystem for Texas commerce and beyond. So downtown dollars integration, use Texas coin for real world purchases and participating Texas businesses. A growing network starting in McKinney and expanding statewide. Store of value, speculative asset, but with a global reach. So direct transactions for goods and services without intermediaries. And really what their goal here, guys, is I don't want to get into the whole economic libertarian Austrian economics argument here. But what you want to do is you want to keep money in your local community. You want to have that money circulate as many times as possible. And obviously, like if somebody comes in and they're just using dollars, those dollars can go anywhere, right? But if you have a specific Texit coin where people are continue to use it in the local community, it's going to strengthen that local community and again, give it more stability and more liquidity and more use cases in the real world to buy real physical goods and services.
Yeah. I mean, folks, this is huge when you talk about use case. All right. When you're talking about mass adoption, okay, you just have to apply a little bit of vision, okay, a little bit of foresight. Like, put yourself in a position where you're thinking about where's the world going? How are people going to continue to transact, and do global trade and commerce? How is industry evolving? Okay. We went from cash to checks, and then we went from, Visa, MasterCard, debit, credit, right? Now we're in the digital era, blockchain. And what we're seeing here is, once again, I always have to put it against the backdrop of a declining fiat currency and an old financial payment system. The current financial payment system is old. It's outdated. Okay. It's archaic. It doesn't function. It doesn't work anymore the way that we need for this fast moving global economy. The ability to transcend and conduct global trade and commerce and have easy, simple, fast, cheap medium of exchange. Okay. And so when you're looking at the dollar continue to lose value and you're looking at digital assets and you look at projects like Texit and you're seeing like in McKinney and other cities and businesses ready to use digital assets. Okay. Well, when you're talking about community and when you're talking about mission and when you're talking about values, right? These are things that people get behind. Certain meme coins are popular because it's a community. People believe in that thing. They get behind that thing, whatever that mission and value is. And so, we're not going to get too much into the liberty and freedom and Austrian economics like he talked about. But people who understand, what is sustainable, what is better for the masses and, what is a better functioning economic business model. And then you see a project like this, a blockchain like this, with that infrastructure, with that mission, with that vision, okay, and with that growing community, and to be here at the beginning is a good thing. Definitely, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and so again, guys, you have to have a community in cryptocurrency, right? Litecoin, it was the first coin I ever bought in 2017. I bought it for $41 in June, right? And Litecoin has some small community, but again, there's not evangelists going around excited about Litecoin, right? telling people about Litecoin, getting Litecoin real world, adoption. But you need an incentive to build a community and what incentivizes people? Getting paid $3,000 a week incentivizes me. And Angie, one of our team members above us who's making, pretty much $3,000 a week says, this is not MLM, guys, right? And it's very simple of what this is exactly. It's a Texas-based cryptocurrency project built on a layer 1 blockchain, just like Bitcoin and Litecoin. And yes, it comes with an optional affiliate program. Guys, almost every company in the entire world now has affiliate programs, right? What is TikTok Shop? It's an affiliate program, right? It's people telling people about something because they're incentivized to make money. So it's a global opportunity. It's not just in Texas. And again, this is completely optional. There's no pressure. There's no penalties. There's no auto ships. There's no monthly quotas. There's no hidden fees. There's no forced subscription. It's just literally, they will give you more mining power. Like Mims, you tell 3 people about this. They give you 2 free miners. So now you're making more tokens every day. You tell 3 people on your right team, 3 people on your left team, you get paid $1,000. So once you pay, you mine, you earn. The miner produces coins for you 24/7, whether you tell anyone, whether you do nothing. You are getting paid those tokens for the next 138 years. So guys, there's a referral program. It is capped at $3,000 a week. But again, this is focused on decentralization. We can't have, like Bobby said, you can't just have a token and 500 people know about it, 10,000, even 100,000. Like you need to get to where you at least have 1 million people who are decentralized, who are using the project. And what is the best way to get people excited? To compensate them. So as you guys can see, I'll bring it up here in a minute. I'll let Mims go. But Mims, I'm going to bring up how much money is going out to the field. It's about 1/3, which is what most businesses spend on marketing and advertising. That's what Bobby said his mission is to do. So Mims, I think this is the best share plan I've ever seen when it comes to sustainability and rewarding people for spreading the news of freedom and liberty when it comes to Texit.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I hope you become better at sharing. Okay. The economy changing right now. I don't know if you realize what's really going on in the economy, but you need to give yourself some options. And, one of the best things that you could do is find a way to make some money from sharing something of value. Okay. Sharing something of value. And, I say all the time, if you want to increase your passive income, you need to increase your passive impact in people's lives. And when you have an opportunity like this, where the coin is now over $1, started out at pennies, and it's projected to go to 16, when you have people that didn't know anything about cryptocurrency, really just getting started, and then they're now making $3,000 a week, every single week, because they're sharing this, and people are being rewarded, and the coins are, trading on an exchange and everything else. This is value. If you want to, there's so much opportunity out here. You know what I mean? Like you just need to get good at sharing something of value to people. You know what I mean? That the more people you help get what they want, the more you'll get, the sooner, faster, the more you'll get what you need. Right. And so this is the thing, like, this is why we're sharing this, because we understand the value. We know the value. This is why we have miners, because we understand the value. We know the value, and we want you to get the value. We want to transfer that understanding, that consciousness, that energy, that value over to you. And you should transfer it to others, because it can change your life financially. You're helping support an ecosystem. You're helping support a community, and you see the real value is there. The real technology, the real actual physical devices, the real vision, the real mission, the real understanding. Okay. So this is an opportunity. Okay. Start becoming a great sharer. Don't worry about if somebody says no. Don't worry about it. Listen, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Okay. And right now in this economy, people need options. They need opportunity. And I get excited about this because I have a miner and I'm receiving these coins, these digital assets every single day for the rest of my life. And when I share it with people, I'm putting myself in position to get paid, but I'm also helping them put themselves in position to get paid, because it's a binary comp plan and people are benefiting from spillover. And you might not know what that means, but understand something. Everybody wins together in this. Okay. So no, I love it. I love what they're doing. I love what's going on. This is definitely different than any kind of minor node project that we've been a part of. Okay. Because of the way they set this up. And I think everybody should take advantage, lock in a position.
Yeah, and Bodacious, just so you know, you can get, if you know what you're doing, right, and you're running with the runners, you can get a miner for $945. That's a one-time. There's no monthly. There's no auto ship. There's no paying anything else. And that's what I love, Mims, right? Is most of the time you join a business and you have to keep paying them, right? You got to pay them every month. You got to pay for your membership or your product or whatever. Here, you pay one time.
One time.
They keep paying you every day.
Yeah. Whew, that part. I think we need to
that's how flipping the script, bro.
Yeah, that's a Don DeMarco. We gotta we gotta say that louder for the people in the back. You pay one time and you continue to get paid every single day.
That's it.
Okay. So if you're running with the runners, you can get the miner for $945. If you're not running with the runners, you don't reach out to us and you probably gonna pay like $995, which is still not bad.
Right. Yeah. Either way, it's under $1,000 to get
Under
started.
$1,000 to get started.
And then you can share for as little or as much as you want. It's totally
obviously the more miners you have, obviously the more digital assets, the more coins you receive, and the more people you share this with, the more mining power you will have, which means you'll get more coins as well.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there's something for everyone, guys. If you want to share and make a lot of money, you can. If you just want to be completely passive and keep it to yourself and not help everyone spread freedom, liberty, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. The last one here, Mims, and we've talked about this enough. Guys, it's a visionary CEO, right? Who has worked in real money solutions for over 15 years. Now, again, I am a libertarian. I am all about decentralization. I am about freedom and liberty. I'm about giving the power back to the people and taking away from centralized authorities.
Especially corrupt centralized authorities. Go ahead, brother.
That part. So if you guys have those same views or you want to help support those views, that's what Texit is about, right? Bobby has not been doing network marketing or building like these businesses where he's selling pills, potions, and lotions.
Yeah.
He's literally been building in the gold, silver, and crypto space. He literally created the first physical Bitcoin cold storage. And when you get your Texit miner, you're going to get in the mail a physical cold storage wallet. Okay. If you don't know what that means, we'll teach you, we'll show you, but I've never seen this from another company because he is serious about security. He is serious about people understanding the physical and the digital and decentralizing this as much as possible. So, there's tons of great videos out there about him. And he literally spoke at the Bitcoin conference last week, Mims. But again, this guy checks every box, and I'm basically aligned with him on 99% of the stuff he talks about.
Yeah, you want to become a good judge of character of people, understand intent, and when you look at motive and intent, right, or judge of character, right. So, like Mike talked about, he didn't come from the network marketing space. He didn't say this is a great way to create, some money, in that sense of MLM or something of that nature. No, it's not even really a big MLM deal. He's more about creating a infrastructure that is more oriented around people having their freedoms and their liberties when it comes to being able to conduct global trade and commerce, when it comes to their money, their property, because understand something, these are digital assets. This is property. Okay. This is your property. You have a right to your property, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We're coming back to the Constitution. We come back to the Republic. Okay. That we all pledge allegiance to as children in school. We pledge allegiance to the Republic. And that's what it's about. Our freedoms, our rights, our liberties. And when you have a blockchain, an infrastructure, a community ecosystem that's supporting that, that's something you want to get behind. Because the present financial system that we have with the private central bank and the Federal Reserve, that's not what they support. That's not what they're about. It's about debt, okay, devaluation, confiscation of wealth, okay, servitude and other things. So yeah, I love what Bobby Gray is doing. Love Ron Paul. Love the liberty and freedom movement, Austrian economics. I'm right there with you. And when you have something of this nature at this time in the global economy, we're in a shift right now. We're in a reset in the global economy, in a global financial monetary system. And out of that reset will come assets, projects, opportunities, communities, okay, that will lead and blaze a new trail in a way that global trade and commerce and business and human interaction and exchange is done. And there are going to be projects that do that. And for us to be aware of those projects and be first and have the ability to acquire a piece of ownership, okay, of that infrastructure and ecosystem and get paid every single day for the rest of our lives in that digital asset, it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer. The dollar is going to continue to lose value. But from what I'm seeing and what I understand, the Texit coin is going to continue to maintain and increase in value.
Yeah, and you guys, you led it right into it, Mims, as always, right? The last point is decentralized money for the people to support liberty and freedom. And two things I want to drive home before we end tonight, guys. Number one, you do not have a miner in your house. You don't need any technical know-how. If you can send crypto and receive crypto, you're good. And we teach people how to do that every day. So they have hosted mining facilities, like Bobby said. They're looking to have, 40 of them all over in Texas, and then individual people in Texas. This is 100% hands-free. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to log in. Once you get your miner, they go to your wallet every single day. Daily coin delivery, complete turnkey solution. They have the professional hosting in the climate controlled secure facilities with 24/7 monitoring. And again, guys, this is 100% liquid, meaning if you want to sell your tokens every day, you can. Now, I'm not doing that, but if you want to, you can. Okay. They are on Bitmart right now, and they are also on Dex Trade if you want to trade there. But again, the token, when I was told about this, was 15 cents. I was told about it back in January, and I was just busy and doing other things. I didn't really take a good look at it. I would urge you, even if you've heard of this before, I would do a deep dive, guys. We've almost gone for an hour, and we could probably go for another hour. And this is like no hype. This is us just looking at the facts, the evidence, and what we're doing here. So again, now we're up to $1, and there's going to be people that get in now. And then maybe in a few months, the token's $2. But they were mining it now. They got in early. They just took a position. Their team's growing, even if they're doing nothing. They're getting tokens every day as the price of the token accumulates, especially during this bull market. You want to take massive action when it comes to this. So, guys, this was just a great show. Thank you for everyone that came out. Share this out. Reach back to the person who shared this video with you. Again, guys, this is a complete team build, right? So there's no links down beneath my video where we'll help you onboard and sign up. We usually jump on Zooms with people and bring you in with us so you understand how everything works and how to do everything. But Mims, I will give you the last word tonight to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I mean, so when you get a miner, I think I was getting maybe like three to 5 coins a day with one miner. And, obviously the more miners you have, the more coins you get. And then obviously if you share, you're going to be, getting more coins as well. This is the thing about, what's exciting about blockchain and these digital assets. There's only so many of them. Understand something, that they will continue to create dollars. They will never stop creating dollars because they have to create dollars. Because if they ever stop creating dollars, the system will collapse. Okay, there's no liquidity, there's no money in the system. Now, what is the problem with them continuing to create dollars? It devalues the dollars in circulation, and then you have inflation, and the value of goods and service, or the cost of goods and services continue to rise. This is a debt-based economic model where they print paper, and that paper is continued. They print to oblivion. They can, that's why the U.S. will never default on its debt, because the Federal Reserve can always print more paper. But what the Federal Reserve cannot guarantee is the value of that paper. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. They always have to create more paper because the money is equal to debt. That's the present model that we have. Now we're moving to a system when we're looking at Texit, there's not an infinite amount of coins. Okay. It's not an infinite amount of coins. Right. So that's one of the values when you're looking at blockchain and these digital assets. There isn't an infinite amount of it, and that creates scarcity. That creates the rarity of it. So as the ecosystem grows, right, that's another added value to the whole ecosystem and the whole project and what you have. You have something that is a finite fixed number. There can never be more created than what the actual supply is. Okay, you're just in at the beginning. And so understand something. When we said you're getting this miner and you're getting paid for life, you start thinking about how you viewed your 401k or your retirement accounts where you were paying into something and you just hope that it's going to be there for you in retirement. But unfortunately, a lot of people are realizing your 401k and all this other stuff that people thought was going to be there for them in their retirement, it's not there. Or even if it is there, the value of the dollar has declined so much that it ain't there. Might as well not be there, because they didn't really understand that 30 years from now, the prices of things will cost so much that whatever you were getting in dollars, you're still struggling. You got to get another job or something because they continue to print dollars. So what you want to do is you have to take control of your financial future. You have to get educated. You got to acquire assets, be a part of communities and ecosystems where you can see the value down the line because of the character traits and principles and that things that give something value later on, right? Scarcity, right? Utility, okay? There's certain things that you want to look at. So when we look at Texit Coin, this is what we see, okay? This is the vision, and it gets greater later, okay? It gets greater later, and we just want to make sure that we bring this to the masses. So definitely get back to whoever shared this out with you, okay? Smash that like button for one thing. If you're watching this, you found value in this information, I'm sure you learned something, okay? Not even just about Texit, you learned something. Smash that like button, share this out, get back to whoever shared this with you, take advantage, lock in your position. And I'm going to tell you, don't wait, because we didn't really even talk about the comp plan, but I mentioned it earlier. It's a binary, okay? People who come in sooner benefit from people who come in later, because the way you get paid, those points will add up, putting you in position to earn up to $3K per week, okay? So lock in. You better run when the runners won. Lace up. Let's get wealthy. We out.
All right. Peace, guys. We'll see you next week.